delighted that Evelina has agreed to come on and speak to a lot of Irish companies today. We'll do the talk. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. And what we'll do at the end of the presentation is we might take up some of those topics. We'll see how we are for time. So with no further ado, Evelina, I'm delighted that you're here. I'm looking forward to the presentation, and you're very welcome.
Okay, so thank you, Steve. Thank you, Indra, for having me here. So, hello and welcome to this event. My name is Evelina Markauskė, and I'm a Senior Manager of Business Excellence in Thermo Fisher Scientific in Vilnius site. I have 12 years of experience, more than 12 years of experience in Thermo Fisher, 10 of those in different business excellence, operational excellence positions. Now I'm leading a team of 3 people, supporting all continuous improvement, visual management, operational excellence, and training activities. So my background is in biochemistry. I'm a chemist myself. A few years ago, completed MBA, and just this year got my black belt. So now I'm really happy to share what's happening in Vilnius site and in Thermo Fisher Scientific. And this is called Biosciences Center of Excellence, and you will soon see why. So for those who don't know it, Thermo Fisher Scientific is a huge company, more than 125,000 people around the world in probably 50 different countries. We have last year, it was more than $40 billion of revenue. $1.5 billion came back as an R&D investment. So I started my career in Thermo Fisher as an R&D scientist as well, and switched to business excellence soon after. So the portfolio of Thermo Fisher is around 1 million different products, and this is how we enable our customers to make the world healthier, cleaner, and safer. So I really like our mission because it creates that purpose of what we do. It was especially important in recent years during COVID pandemics, but I will talk about it a little bit later. So Thermo Fisher overall can establish a lab from scratch, from very beginning, just lay out all the equipment, all the single-use materials, all the reagents, bioproduction formulation, clinical trials, and everything. So as I said, more than 1 million different products. And here in Vilnius, we have a big site, more than 1,500 people, close to 1,600 people, 45 years of experience, and everything started in an old white building almost 50 years ago. So Enzymology Institute was working, and a spin-off called Fermentas was established, and Fermentas means enzyme. So Fermentas was established, and in 2010 we became part of Thermo Fisher Scientific as a legal entity of Thermo Fisher Scientific Baltics. So at that time, 14 years ago, it was a company of approximately 300 people, and it was growing since then. The biggest number of employees we had during pandemics, because we were still producing, but during pandemics it was especially big. All the COVID-19 related products for testing, for components for vaccines. And we are creating a lot of new products. So we have more than 200 of dedicated researchers, the biggest private R&D center in the region. So I will show you what kind of products we make. So we work according all the standard ISO standards, 9,000, 13,000, and so on. And I will not go into the details here because the most important topic is our journey to Shingo. So this is just a background for you to understand our baseline. We have all all flow of the processes. 2/3 work in operations, 20% in administration, and as I said, about 200 people in R&D. And we are pretty young side. The average age is 32 years. So bigger majority are millennials or now even Gen Z. And the interesting fact is that 2/3 of our employees are female employees. And this is pretty unique in Europe because in Europe, the average percentage of female engineers and scientists is about 45%. And in Lithuania, the percentage of female engineers and scientists is around 62%, and we have even more. So this is pretty unique, but I'm really happy to see this number. So not sure if everybody is our client or our competitor, but we have pretty broad portfolio of different products, around 12,000 different products. So everything started from the life science products like enzymes, nucleic acid, purification kits, electrophoresis, analysis, and now we have a lot of things related to proteins, to transfections, to qPCR. And the word PCR probably is familiar for you. Everybody have done this many times during COVID. So we are doing the qPCR master mixes. We have some cell therapy, immunotherapy components. So we are not producing the drugs itself, but we are producing the components for drugs. And we have analytical instruments, chromatography and mass spectrometry columns. So these can be used for detection of very small amounts of, for example, doping or some chemicals in, for example, food or honey or blood and so on. So we were working, for example, with the Paris Olympics. Just our columns were used to detect all the bad things in the blood. So this is our company. So only a few minutes about that, because the idea of today is to talk about PPA business system, because the word lean is not very often used in our company, since we have the practical process improvement business system. It's our business system, how we improve things, how we do the continuous improvement. And so I will be using words PPI and lean as synonyms. So don't be surprised by that. So PPI, or as I said, practical process improvement, is a business system consists of strategy deployment, lean management, and lean tools. And I really believe that we cannot do anything without a strategy, just to have a good understanding of what's working now, where you need to be in a year or 2 or 3, and to make a plan how to achieve that. And then the second step is the lean management, which really helps to track strategy on a daily basis. And only the third step is lean tools, how to implement that strategy. So this is our business system, and our journey in PPI or lean started more than 10 years ago. So as I mentioned, in 2010, we became part of Thermo Fisher Scientific, and we started to grow a little bit, and the idea was to grow not only by hiring more people, but really grow by being more productive, being more effective. So in 2013, we started our ramp up of our PPI business system, and we started from strategy deployment because, as I mentioned, is probably the most important thing, just to have clear understanding what do we have now and where we need to be, where we want to be in a couple of years. Lead management with tier daily meetings, with leader standard work, Gemba walks, and identified 5 different value streams, established pull system for the inventory management and manufacturing management. So in 2013, we were a company of probably 500-600 people. So we talked just before the beginning of this event with Steve and Indra and Steven about different challenges that comes to small companies and big companies when starting to go when they are starting to go through different methodologies in lean and lean journey overall. So for us, it was relatively, I cannot say easy, but easier than to a very big company, because, as I said, we had 500 or 600 people, and we had some more things implemented already. Because here on the bottom you see the scores. So these scores are PPI or lean maturity scores, lean culture maturity scores. And that the assessment is being done by the PPI leaders, PPI directors from the company, from Thermo Fisher. It's kind of internal assessment. And we had, in the very beginning, we had 3.4 out of 10. So even in the beginning, we haven't started from scratch. It was already something implemented. We had, for example, 5S, we had some Kaizens, we had some problem solving, but it wasn't a system yet. It was some set of tools, set of methodologies that we had. And 2014 was really a year of, 15 was really a year of learning, doing a lot of new things, improving things, learning new methodologies and implementing those methodologies. And it's probably important to note that we started not only with manufacturing, as I see in many companies, because we're starting with kind of a pilot in one manufacturing cell, and let's see how the lean works, or implement lean only in manufacturing and let's leave HR and R&D alone. But we decided to have real business system and to implement it all over I wanted to say all over the world. That was what we wanted, but we started from implementing all over the site. So of course, the focus was to manufacturing, to operations, but at that time I was working in R&D, and I felt really impressed in what you can do with PPI business system in R&D. Because, scientists, they tend to be a little more chaotic, not so standardized, and we need to have that creative mess, 5S and so on. And I was successful enough, lucky enough to implement, for example, 5S and process standardization in many of the areas, and really to explain people that let's standardize, for example, some steps of the experiment, and in such way you will have more time for creativity, you will have more time to experiment and so on. If just a simple thing, with a 5S, you will not be running around looking for something. Everything will be in one place. So since I was pretty good in doing this and convincing people, so in 2015 I joined Business Excellence full-time, left R&D and started to work with all the company, and it was a very good time for me, because I've seen all the journey that we did in the very beginning, from the participants' point of view, and in beginning, not the very beginning, since 2014, as a thought leader, as a trainer, and so on. But as I said, 2014 and 15 was really a year of learning, with strategy 3s in all functions, with standard process standardization, lean manufacturing cells and 5S, TPM, and so on. Everything was being done step by step. And you see the score doubled in 1 year. So it was really a lot of changes, a lot of big changes in the company, good changes, of course. A year later, we got an 8. Since then, we have the highest PPA maturity score in Thermo Fisher. So we have around 500 locations, 500 sites all across the world, and we have the highest lean maturity score. So this is really a proud moment since 2015 for us. And when we got the aid, we kind of got the suggestion to benchmark ourselves not only with the internal sites, but also with external companies. And we decided to go to Shingo Institute in Utah, just really to understand what's here in the world, where we are in that Shingo model. So it was pretty long application process, from formal applications of 3-year KPIs, from detailed report of achievements, probably 60 or 70 pages long. And when we convinced that we are doing good enough, 4 or 5 people came for 3-day long visit to observe processes, to see what's happening, to go to probably hundreds of Gemba walks, to talk with hundreds of people and to really understand what is our culture. Because as you know, the Shingo model is not only about the tools or about the systems. It's, of course, focus on results, but the main focus is on culture and behavior, just to see if everybody is engaged, if everybody is doing the problem solving, if people are being coached, if they're being empowered to solve problems, and so on. So long story short, we got almost the perfect score and got the main Shingo prize in 2017. So not too many companies around the world were awarded Shingo prize, as you probably know. And the end of the Shingo assessment can be bronze, silver, main prize, or try again trophy. So we got the Shingo prize, and it was really a good evidence for us that we are world-class lean company. We're not perfect, far from perfect, but we know how to improve. We know how to do that continuous improvement, and we've been doing that since 2013. So now, as I said, it was a nice journey from internal assessments to Shingo prize. Now we have another kind of internal assessment, crawl, walk, and run. So we are running. We have the highest maturity score according to the current assessment here in Thermo. So I will not go into the details here, but just a message here that we keep assessing ourselves, just to understand, just to kind of compete with our past ourselves, and to get better, to be better in many things. And now as a lean leader for many years, I still see a lot of opportunities. Now, especially with Smart Factory, Industry 4, Industry 5 getting a big part of our picture, it's really important to align all these systems, just to align ISO standards with GMP manufacturing, with not align, but to implement ISO standards and GMP manufacturing with the PPI business system, and then to add Smart Factory to the picture, and to have that one good continuous improvement system. And what really helps us to do that, and I think it's definitely the most important thing to have in every company, is very good strategy deployment. Just really to understand where we are, why we're doing things, what we need to do, and how we need to do things. So in the very beginning of our lean journey, we did thought about strategic mantra, as we call it, or strategic horizon, just to understand the why. So the why in our case was the speed, because in biotech, in pharma industries, everybody should be good in quality, but where we can compete is the speed. So if we want to be quicker, if we want to be faster, so we need to remove waste from the process. And how to do that? by implementing different lean methodologies and living by in lean culture. So the message, any product in one day with zero waste, leads us from the beginning of our PPA journey. And it's really not necessarily focused on that one day operations, but really focuses on speed, focuses on reducing the lead times, being more effective, being more productive, and by implementing lean and reducing the waste. So we have very nice, and don't get me wrong, you will not get any magical recipes how to implement strategy, but this cycle really works really well for us, because we have at least three or four levels of strategy deployment, and just to ensure that every single employee will know how they're contributing to the strategy and what is the why. So we have the divisional goal tree, we have site goal tree, we have approximately 20 second level X matrices for different functions, like different value streams in operations, logistics, R&D, quality, and so on. And every single department and every single group will develop strategic A3 or proposal A3 for them, just really to understand what changes they need to do in their particular department. And then when we agree what will be done in the department, it's pretty straightforward, pretty easy, or at least easier, to do the performance management and development goals. So employee goals comes from the strategic A3. Of course, personal development goals come from your talk with the manager, but performance goals usually come from the strategic A3. And in these couple of levels, every single employee knows how they're contributing to the strategy, how what they're doing contributes to everyday success of our company. And since all these strategic plans are kind of lists of plans of changes, we are doing a lot of Kaizens, a lot of just do it, a lot of other improvement projects, and monitoring results on a quarterly, monthly, weekly, and even daily basis. So daily basis is daily accountability meetings or SAICI meetings. And this cycle goes round and round all the time. Of course, majority of work being done in the beginning of the year with the strategy deployment, the very end of the year and the Q1 of the next year, and a lot of Kaizens during the year. And all in all, these are the numbers from last year. One site level goal tree, 23 second level X matrices, 119 departments established their strategic A3s. So in 150 plans, we had very clear understanding what needs to be done and why and how. 1,500 people with employee goals, 500 Kaizens, 1,500 just do it, all the KPI reviews, 160 daily accountability meetings in 4 levels, in 4 tiers, and more than 15,000 Gemba walks by the managers. So this really, once again, helps to align, helps to come up with the challenges, helps to improve things. And it might be, with so many strategic plans, it might be challenging to communicate, just to find the best way to communicate the strategies. So since 2016, we're doing strategy maps, which really helps to put the strategy in very nice visual picture and really to give the better understanding in telling the story about the strategy for every single employee. So in 2016, we started this with the 3-year strategic plans with kind of vision, but now in recent years, we're doing 1-year strategic plans, since the environment is changing so much and we have so many new employees. And because of the last reason, so many new employees, we have 2 sections of this map. On the left, we have our strengths. On the right, we have our improvement priorities or improvement opportunities. And we have 3 different categories: productivity, colleagues and culture, and customers. And for example, for productivity, we have run phase of PPI. We have very strong PPI culture where Kaizen is part of everyday job. We have good financial discipline. And our improvement priorities for this year is digital quality management system, all the process automation, inventory management, and so on. So this really helps to understand much better what should be done, what is going to be done. And I myself work with communication team very closely in creating this on an annual basis. And then we train our managers how to present it, like a train-the-trainer session. And they are coming back to their teams, to their departments, and doing like 60 or 90 minutes sessions with their department employees in order to understand the company strategy. So this is only for Vilnius site. But this is really a best practice because this year I was asked to lead a project in developing the similar map to our division as well. So now we're having a divisional map as well. So this is a strategy, and strategy really tells what to do and why. But we need to implement a lot of things, and we need to learn a lot of things in order to change those paradigms and to reduce the waste from the process. So since the 2013, we were thinking about the flow a lot. And this is a very simple example of U-form cell, working cell for manual packaging of the vials to the small boxes or small bags. And this cell is dedicated for very small lots. It's from 1 to 10 pieces a lot. And before we were interested in lean manufacturing methodologies, this process took a couple of days, because to package a box like this, when all the vials are manufactured, you just really need only to collect everything, to do the inventory, to collect everything, to print the, if needed, to print the labels and some passports, manuals, and to put everything into the box ready for shipping. So it can take up to a couple of days, because every single process, for example, manual production order, labels and manual printing, components picking, packaging, was done in different location, in different room to be exact, and different person performed every single thing. It was a lot of waiting, a lot of transportation. It can take up to a couple of days. And after implementing a cell that I showed in the last slide, we are able to do the same things by the one person in a couple of minutes. And this is pretty good example of flow implementation. So we saved space, we increased productivity, we reduced inventory, and this was probably one of the first big changes in the company, in our site. And it was a big change, not only for the production managers or for production overall, but also for the mindset of the employees. Because I really believe that in order to kind of convince or engage people into these activities, you need to show what's in it for them. What are the benefits not only for the company but also for the employee as well. So in creating these cells, I think people were a bit more happier because they had to do a couple of different things, not only to fold boxes all the day, for example, or not only to put labels all the day, but the complexity of the process was a little bit different. Of course, they need to learn some new things. They need to be trained, but for them, it's kind of growth opportunity. And even quality increased because there are a lot of research when many people are responsible for the process. So everybody kind of thinks that somebody else will take care of the quality checks, and nobody checks in the end. So when only one person is responsible for the process, so the quality is much better because they are checking that quality. So this was one of the first big changes in our PPA journey, but now bigger majority of our manufacturing and R&D as well has layout of that cell design of that flow, and we implemented flow where we can, and if the flow is not possible, so we implemented pull system. And the same approach or similar approach was applied to other departments, for example, finance. And this is an example of fiscal month closure. Before that, once again, a lot of waiting, collecting, processing, and so on, another collecting. And data analysis can be done only after 4 days of fiscal month closure. And now everything is pretty much more standardized. It's very clear who is doing what. People are cross-trained to do more different things. And now we are able to do the fiscal month closure in 2 days, leaving more time for data analysis. And the approach is pretty similar because we're talking about one-piece flow, about visualization, about leveling the process, about standardization. And this is a picture of one of the very first kind of standard checklists of the fiscal month's closure. Every single process is listed here with a responsible person, like a sequence, what needs to be done after what. It's very clear what is the time frame for that particular task, not in minutes probably, but at least in half an hour or an hour time frame, and it's very clear what is the flow of the process. And sometimes, of course, there are some issues, some interruptions, and people can improve the process if you see that something is not happening right. So now the same planning, the same process, the same standardization is being done electronically with the automatic reminders and so on. But everything was started from the very simple and visual solutions. And I really believe that one of the most effective solutions for the beginning of lean implementation is those simple and visual solutions. You cannot buy an app for daily accountability management if you don't know what you need to track or how to do that daily accountability management, because then you are like trapped with that app and the process is different. Another thing, what is very important is training, and I will come back to this topic in a minute. And then you need to think about how to create that engagement. And I showed the strategy deployments. So in a way, we expect that every single employee will be part of our PPI business system. Everybody will be using PPI as a part of our operations. And you cannot, I will put it in a simple terms, but you cannot expect a big raise or a big bonus if you haven't done a Kaizen or you are not participating in daily accountability meetings and so on. So it's part of our discipline, yeah. So in this, it's really important to have very good engagement of the lean leaders. And by lean leaders, I mean all the people and functional managers, because they need not only to do the key tasks, some meetings, all the emails, reports, and everything, but very important part of the leader-centered work is daily accountability for communication and accountability, problem solving, so in a way of coaching employees and solving the more complex problems, and Gemba walks, go see and learn, identify improvement opportunities. So Leader-centered work, it's, in my opinion, very hard tool to implement, but very, very beneficial thing to do, because you will, that discipline and I mean discipline in a good way, creates easier life, because you don't need to think what to do. It's very clear what you need to do. And what I mentioned was really create that engagement is a lot of not a lot, but necessary amount of training, sufficient amount of training, and we're spending a lot of time on this. My team and myself, we're doing a lot of trainings, because we really believe that the idea of PPA is not internal consultants or the PPA team coming and solving your problems or implementing some improvements, but really for us to coach you how to do that, train you, empower you, and you solve problems by yourself. And this is the kind of main idea of the continuous improvement culture. So we have PPA trainings for new employees, and it's 9-hour training, 9 hours in 3 days. So it's very nice introduction into Lean 101, and majority of the time, probably like 4 or 5 hours, it's spent on problem-solving methodologies. So we have a methodology of Kaizen called 8-step methodology, and it's based on PDCA cycle. Another thing, so this is mandatory for every newcomer in first 2 or 3 months. Then we have a lot of topics for Lean class. So this is additional, not mandatory training if you want to deepen your knowledge in certain topics. For example, Kanban, 5S, tier daily management, Gemba, and so on. So one class for different topic. And we have few times a year refreshment PPA trainings. Once again, it's not mandatory, but many people are joining just to refresh their memory. We are doing train the trainer sessions, PPA process manager train the trainer sessions, because 4 full-timers are working with 1,600 people, but we have close to 100 PPA process managers that are spending like 5 or 10% of their time in order to help other teams to implement some changes to go through methodology or to solve problems. And just a couple of years ago, we started training within industry, job instruction trainings, and this year, job relations trainings, but I will not go into the details here. So before I conclude, I just wanted to mention that everything that I showed you today is really part of our journey, and the next step for us is probably all the smarter solutions. And the mission of my team, of myself, is really to do the process optimization and problem solving using PPA Lean tools, but applying smarter solutions now. And we have a term called Smart Factory, which is part of the connecting machine systems processes to ultimate efficiency, productivity, and flexibility. So this is a nice addition to our continuous improvement journey, because, as I said, we have a lot of now smarter solutions. We are integrating some improvements into the systems, and the main thing here is we try not to automate waste, because in many cases you just, if implementing some robots or some process automation, you just making the waste faster. So we don't want to do that. We want to remove the waste from the process to reduce it or remove it, and to automate processes then. So now we have many initiatives here, and I'm leading a lot of these as well, especially with data analytics, information flow, robotic process automation, and so on. So to conclude, all in all, everything that I showed is part of the enabling factors of the cultural transformation. Because you can see technologies, tools, techniques, some processes as a tip of the iceberg. But for real transformation, you need to have very clear strategy, good alignment, engagement of the leadership, that leader-centered work and behavior and the engagement of the employees. And what I haven't mentioned, because I really think that savings, hard savings, is only the good side effect of all of this journey. It's not the main, shouldn't be the main, or not the main, but the only target of the lean culture, not a culture even, lean system to have savings. If you would like to have that culture, it's not about the saving, not only about the savings. Of course, savings are important, especially in these tough times, but it should be a good side effect. When you are improving your speed, reducing the lead time, improving the quality, reducing the complaints, and so on. So it was exactly 40 minutes, and now I see quite a few questions in chat, so let's switch to questions.
That was excellent, Evelina. Thanks very much. Really excellent presentation.
Thank you.
I think that's gonna resonate with a lot of people. Well, I talked through the chat questions. The first one, I think, from Richie is all about Gemba walks, and how did you ensure that leaders understood and developed the right culture to do the Gemba walks?
Things that we're doing with Gemba walks. So first of all, I think probably 8 or 9 years ago, when we wanted to strengthen Gemba walks, we developed like a Gemba guide, like a cheat sheet for the managers, what to ask, what to look into, and what questions to ask during the Gemba walk. And really encourage people to go to Gemba walks with their manager or their peers, just to coach as well, just like a one-to-one coaching plus Gemba plus one-on-one, and it's a very good, of course, we have training, and in that training, we focus a lot on how to do a good Gemba walk, not to have an audit, not to have an excursion, but really have a Gemba. So I think it's a mix of going to Gemba walks with somebody, having those checklists, those questions, and some training as well. But I think Gemba is very hard methodology to implement. It's really, you need to be humble. You need to be, and it's not easy for a lot of managers to be like that.
Excellent. Next question. You said in the start of the presentation about your scores increasing year on year till you got the Shingo prize, and then you did some internal assessment, and obviously you've moved on again now. The next question is, would you recommend, if a company was looking at their lean journey, that they do their internal assessment first, or was Shingo a good first step for you? What would your recommended sequence be, having come through quite a journey?
So we were one of few companies that did get a Shingo assessment without any workshops with Shingo Institute, because as you probably know, there is very strongly recommended to have the workshops with Shingo and then to ask them to come to the site. So since we had the internal assessment, since we did like a pre-Shingo assessment as well, so we were ready to get the Shingo assessment without any workshops. And I really believe that you need to compete with yourself. Sometimes to compete with other sites is a good competition as well. It should be healthy, of course, but within your company. But to measure yourself, to measure your progress, to have some kind of internal assessment, I think it's important just to see the progress, just to see if what you're doing is working.
Yeah. Next one. How did you implement continuous improvement culture across the site, and how did you engage and involve employees?
So I think I covered this a little bit. So the strategy, the leaders, some incentive, but I see the question about this as well. Some kind of understanding what's in it for me, just really to encouraging people to solve their own problems. And we're using the same methodology to solve all kinds of problems. For example, a couple of years ago, we decided to do a gym, internal gym, and we needed to make a layout and to decide what to buy and everything. So we did a Kaizen to establish a gym, just really to solve that problem that we don't know how to do that. And we created a layout and established everything during a Kaizen. So either it's a problem solving with a customer complaint or establishing a gym, the methodology is pretty much the same. And I didn't mention that, but probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we did a contest PPA at home. And we asked people to send examples of what they have implemented from Lean methodologies at home. And we got plenty of examples. Of course, majority of them were 5S, but even Kanban cards in the pantry, even layout Kaizens for the establishing the new garden, and Heijanka box for, and so on and so forth. So people really see the benefits and bring this methodology home. And I was very lucky to meet my husband, my future husband, in Lean conference. So when we got married, there are no questions about the 5S. Of course, there are no stickers all around the house, but everything is under control.
Yeah, I think just to add, probably because we worked with Evelina together, so I think the culture comes, not only about the things to improve specific to work-wise, but also to improve, like Evelina mentioned, like was Kaizen done for gym class, and I remember we had maybe there was the Kaizen something like on the coffee as well, like because there was kind of to choose the coffee. And what I remember as well very well, that I'm not sure if you're still doing that. Each Kaizen was presented on Fridays, and all people who would like to see what's going on in the company, they were free to attend the presentations in the hall, in the meeting room, and to see what improvements are done. Is this still ongoing?
So it's probably been ongoing for 10 years. So every single Friday, now every second Friday, but we're doing Kaizen report outs. Now Kaizens and Just Do It's report outs just to, in the beginning it was all Kaizens for people to understand what is the Kaizen and maybe to get inspired a little bit, and for people to see the best practices. And now we choose the either best Kaizens or those that are connected to all the company, just for people to see as well. And I think it's a nice recognition for the employees as well, because if you say, well, come to present your Kaizen because we think it's one of the best from this week, so it's a nice, proud moment for the team.
Question come in about daily management, and do you practice daily management with pen and paper or marker and paper, or do you do daily management electronically?
We do both. We have a hybrid because in 2020, March 17th, I believe so, we had to switch to electronic boards like in a day. Everybody remember that. And we had good Excel templates, so it was not very difficult for us. So we switched to electronic boards very quickly. And many of the departments, especially non in manufacturing area, they kept the electronic boards. For example, my team, we have electronic boards, but we are meeting face to face. In manufacturing, they have physical boards, pen and paper, and they're meeting face to face. Some team, for example, some are working remotely, they're meeting with the virtual boards in virtual meetings. So we have a hybrid, and we keep that flexibility because I think it's very important these times. Because in operations it's pretty straightforward, everybody is on site, but in support functions and in R&D it's probably should be much more flexible.
There's a question from me on that. Do you aim to keep those boards simple and visual, and is that a constant challenge?
So boards are simple and visual, and now we are looking for some smarter solutions. Some already went to Power BI, for example, or something like this. But I'm strong believer that good old Excel works good enough, and in many cases it's enough for the creating the visuals and meeting all the tenets of the board that's supposed to be met.
Question here, do you use financial incentives to meet targets of using the tools?
So yeah, I see the whole question. So impact improvements, targets for number of ideas, number of kaizens, and etc. So we expect people to participate in different PPI events, different PPI methodologies being implemented, and so on. But we do not have financial incentives for a Kaizen. For example, I know some companies that if you save a certain amount of money, like 1% of 0.5% of that money will be your bonus. So it's not the case in Thermo Fisher. We have very small thank you gift for every single member of the Kaizen. Indra probably remembers it used to be like a piece of chocolate or a box of candies. Now it's a gift card for €5 to buy something in the shop for snacks, for drinks and so on. So for here in on site, but in broader view, if you're really involved in process improvement, if you're really driving a lot of changes, in a way, your annual bonus or annual increase of the salary will be related to that. It's not the only thing that our performance is being calculated on, but it's part of the annual performance. And we have a commitment to participate in different PPI activities. So it used to be number of Kaizens, but now we are more flexible, and it's we aim to have at least 80% of the involvement at any given month. So it can be just do it, it can be root cause analysis, it can be 5S workshop, it can be Kaizen, so different kinds of PPI activities, but we are calculating 3-month rolling percentage of the involvement. So for example, for last 3 months, it was 82%, which is pretty good. So yeah.
There was another question about do you track the number of improvements?
Yeah, so the number of improvements, we do track that, but I don't think that it's the most important metric because the engagement is much more important.
Yeah. A couple of questions around leader standard work again, and maybe the engagement of managers. Was that easy, or did you have some managers that maybe resisted the disruption to their daily routine to have to do leader standard work?
It's real life, so there will be somebody who will resist the change all the time. The good thing is that the percentage of those resistant people are not very high, and those drivers, the percentage of those drivers and enthusiasts are much higher, and we are lucky enough to not to have those disruptive influencers to go out like this. So some people are not heavily involved in these activities, of course, but I will repeat myself, but you need to see some benefit for yourself in this as well. For the managers, for example, in leader-centered workshop, I promise that you will get at least a couple of hours a week back to your development or to your free time. So let's do the 5S on your calendar first, which is a good thing, and then let's see what's missing. Maybe the Gemba walks are missing, maybe coaching time is missing, maybe one-on-ones, or maybe you need to delegate something. So if you are not confident enough to delegate, maybe to learn to do that and so on. So it's kind of 5S event first, and then leaders and program second.
Question in from Barry. In your opinion, should a company be a certain level of maturity in lean before going for Shingo or approaching Shingo?
If you wish to get the main prize, of course. But I know that Shingo Institute is really strong institute, and we were lucky enough and to get the help from the company in the beginning. Now, a lot of areas in our site is improved a lot, and not too many new things are coming. But in the beginning of our lean journey, we get a lot of new methodologies implemented and trained. So those internal trainers were really a good gift for us. But for those companies that do not have internal help, so the Shingo Institute or any other consultant is a good choice, probably. Of course, to challenge yourself for the Shingo prize, for the main Shingo prize without any assessment, it's a brave thing to do. It's a brave thing to do.
It's just 1 o'clock. That was absolutely fantastic. I got a lot from that talk. I think every talk was different. Some are very, down into the deep. Yours was very much the journey, and thank you for sharing that. Really appreciate it. We talked to the network before about the potential of maybe visiting. If there's enough interest from people in visiting, we would explore that further with Evelina and our team. So there's no set plan, but if you have an interest in that, we'll put a note out to everybody. And if there's enough interest, we'll certainly we'll rope in Indra to make that happen. Thank you very much.
So our doors are open. Just let's keep in touch, and I'm really happy to be here. So thank you for listening. Thank you for all the excellent questions, all the compliments that I keep getting in chat. So ping me in LinkedIn, Evelina Markauskė, and let's keep in touch. Best of luck.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Emil, for your time.
Thank you.
Have a good day.